I'm frozen.
It sure is.
Are you frozen?
No,
I'm
I see
frozen.
myself moving. I see myself moving, but the clock is frozen.
Hold on. I don't know why it's frozen. Hold on.
Mhm. Hey guys, I don't know if y'all can see me or not. She'll be back on shortly. Realize I couldn't even see the chat. You guys can see me. We're having some technical difficulties, so give us a second.
All right. I think I'm back. Am I here? Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. We having a little technical difficulties, but we back.
Yes.
Welcome to the Love Kanika podcast. My name is Kanika,
My name is Vanita.
and we are back for another show. If you are new to the channel, which you probably are because it's a new channel, if you don't mind subscribing and also hitting the notification bell because we do this show sometimes on the weekends, pop up, maybe on Saturday or Sunday, sometimes on Monday. So if you hit the notification bell, you'll be notified when we go live so that you can be a part of these conversations. Okay, Tiffany says she can see us both. So good.
Okay, cool.
I froze a little bit for a second. So thank you for
Yes.
hanging on, everybody. So today we're going to talk about what Vanita and I talk about a lot. We've been talking about a lot over the years, and that's how the Matrix programs all of us to do what it wants us to do, and how that has affected particularly us as women, as Black women, and as a society. If you haven't seen my video, I have a video that I made a couple of months ago called What Happened to Neo in the Matrix Happened to Me in Real Life. So if you haven't seen that video, I would definitely suggest going back watching that video. It kind of it does explain how I got here and why I'm sitting on YouTube right now talking to you. That's the reason I was able to discover that we were in the Matrix is because of this whole journey that I've been on for the last 20 years. So if you haven't had a chance to go watch that video, we have take time to do that because it'll really explain a lot of what we're going to talk about here today. So, Vanita, in your opinion, how would you describe the Matrix and what it is? If you had to explain it, how would you explain it?
It is like a game or a movie
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you're inserted in, and it's just like things that someone has played out, and some of them are true and some of them aren't, but in movies and videos somebody else wrote it for you, which is true in the matrix that we're in.
Yeah.
um but the difference is you can rewrite your script in our matrix as
Gotcha.
opposed to a game or a movie.
I agree. I like to think of the Matrix as like Vanita says, kind of like a game or a movie. Like for instance, I like to think this is how I describe it, right? So say you bought a new computer, right? Like a
Hmm.
fresh computer out of the box, and the computer
Another way.
is the matrix, right? The
Hmm.
computer is the place or the housing of where all the programs are gonna go. Like
Exactly.
Outlook or Word or whatever you download on your computer. The matrix is the place where it's basically the school of learning, right? So when we come into this lifetime, if you will, we don't belong here. We're not from here. We're from, I don't know, people call it the other side, some people call it heaven. It's a ton of names of for the place that we come from, the another
Originate.
dimension, yeah, or whatever. So when we incarnate in this lifetime, what I truly believe and what I have been told by the universe in my spiritual journey for the last 20 years is that before you get here, you choose all of these things. You choose your mother, you choose your father, you choose your family,
Yep.
um you choose the purpose of you coming down here, you choose everybody you're gonna meet, you choose what that soul or souls, because a lot of people are gonna teach you what you're gonna learn and what you're trying to do with all of this. The point of the game, like Vanita said, we're in a game. The point of the game is to remember the purpose of
Who
your
you are.
lifetime in this lifetime, why you came, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, your life's purpose. And all of
Exactly.
these people in the game are helping you, assisting you in trying to wake up to remember what that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that most people aren't aware that that's what they're doing. People think that this
Exactly.
is real. We all think this is real. We all think the dramas are real, the heartbreaks are real because they feel real. We think that going to work is real. All of these things are real, but in actuality, we're just literally playing a game. And the beauty about knowing this information or looking through your spiritual eye is it makes life and what you're doing a lot easier when you know that you're just playing a game to
Yeah.
wake up. You
Yes.
don't take everything so seriously. It's easier to forgive people. When you're in a situation, you understand that it was for a reason and for a lesson, and you cannot necessarily blame the person for everything that didn't happen, but you can look at the lesson and what you were supposed to get from it so that you can evolve to the next level and continue to evolve, because that's the journey of life. It's about evolution and finding your purpose, right? But you
Yes.
need experiences to do this. And that's why we come to the earth realm. That's what it's all about. So we're gonna I actually have a video that I found that kind of perfectly explains this. So we're gonna go through the video and I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna talk about me and Vanita are gonna talk about our own personal journey of awakening to the matrix, or awakening to the matrix is just basically figuring out that you're in the matrix.
That's it.
That's all it is. It's
Mm-hmm.
just figuring out that you're in the matrix. So we're gonna review a video that perfectly explains it, and I'm gonna stop in certain points to kind of talk about my own personal experience with basically going through what Neo went through. I literally went through almost everything Neo went through in the movie without the fighting and all of that stuff. That's for the movie, but the purpose of the movie and what happened in the movie happens in real life. It's the hero's journey. If you go to YouTube and type in the hero's journey, you'll see that the hero's journey, the Matrix is based on the hero's journey, which is based on spiritual awakening. That's all it's based on. So
Most. It's a lot of movies that are
yeah. So we're
just
gonna
based off the heroes.
review this and we're gonna stop at certain points and talk about it. Okay, so hold on. Hopefully this doesn't freeze my screen, y'all, because sharing seems to freeze my screen. But let's see if I can get this thing going. Vanita, I muted you because you're getting feedback.
I didn't say it would be easy, Neo. I just said it would be the truth. The genius of The Matrix is it proved that movies can make us care about dry, philosophical ideas. In the Wachowskis' 1999 film about a programmer who realizes he's living in a computer simulation, the deepest intrigue doesn't lie in what happens, but in why it happens and what it means.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
At the heart of this story are questions like, what's real? Do we actually want the truth? And can human beings be free? Such abstract inquiries become tangible, personal, urgent. As Neo progresses from nihilism to enlightenment.
And when she said, can human beings be free? What she means is free in the mind. That's what that's what the Matrix is about. It's freeing your mind from the programming of society. And there's so many programs that you need to be aware of that society puts on you for its own benefit. I mean, for the benefit of the program, which is running the program, which is, us, the working class, working like a slave, reproducing, the women reproducing, all this stuff. These are programs that society tells you for the benefit of the program. It's not for the benefit of you, it's for the benefit of the program. So that's what she's talking about.
And becomes the one, the only person with the potential to free human beings from their machine overlords. This tightly structured hero's journey is the philosopher's journey.
There is no spoon.
Packaged as a gripping, action-packed Hollywood flick. 20 years later, here's our take on the deep meaning of The Matrix and why it's a guide to freeing your mind.
Absolutely.
Which can help us uncode the modern Matrix of our times.
Free your mind.
Fair use,
This
by the
video
way.
is brought to you by Mubi, a curated streaming service showing exceptional films from around the globe. It's like your own personal film festival streaming anytime, anywhere.
Okie dokie. For my mind.
For your
The first
mind.
Matrix movie has an age-old message. The truth shall set you free.
It was he who freed the first of us. Taught us the truth.
Let's take a look at Neo's steps on the road to freeing the mind. On closer inspection, we can identify 7 major phases: dreaming, destruction, reconstruction, self-knowledge, doubt, belief, and love. Step 1. Dreaming of the question.
Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real? What if you were unable to wake from that dream?
Neo's quest for truth begins in his dreams. When we first meet him, he's asleep, while his computer runs a search for a mysterious figure.
Now, when they say he's asleep, is literally in the movie, but it's also figuratively, because asleep means unconscious of he knows something is wrong, he knows something isn't right, but he's not quite sure. He's unconscious. That means you're asleep. When you're not conscious that you're in the matrix, you are asleep. When you're not conscious that it's more going on than this reality that we live in, that means you're asleep. That's what that means when they say he was asleep. I was asleep. I did the same thing Neo did. In 2003, I came home one day from work and I remember asking God, I remember just thinking, is this all that life is? You go to work, come home, have some babies, take care of them, and go to work and die? That's what I asked God, because I felt in my soul, in my spirit, it had to be something more than this. So like Neo, I asked the question, just like Neo. And
Figure named Morpheus, fittingly named after the Greek god of dreams. Someone in Neo's computer, who we later learn is Trinity, tells him to wake up.
Yep.
Neo's not quite ready to do this yet, and the 2 sequences following this lead back to him waking up in...
I want y'all to notice the clock. The clock, because one of the first things that start happening to me when God started to try to wake me up, when God started calling me or tapping me like they're doing Neo, that's what happens. I started seeing numbers on a clock. A lot of you probably have seen numbers on a clock, different numbers, repeating numbers. Have you seen repeating numbers on different numbers on clocks?
I see them every day, all day, even to this day. Like, 222, 333, 444. It in all kind of different variations. Some people may see 123. But if it stands out to you, then God's talking to you.
Yeah, that's when you see numbers on a clock, when you see numbers on receipts, repeating numbers, you'll see them on car tags, receipts, clocks. That's the universe trying to get your attention to let you know, hey, I'm talking to you. I'm trying to let you know it's more, I'm here. It's more going on than your everyday life. That's the universe trying to get your attention to wake you up. So that's one of the first things you'll start seeing is repeating numbers. Like I started seeing constantly 1221, 1221, 1221 on everything, on receipts, on to the point where it would just jump out at me. And I'm like, what is this about? This is when God first started to try to wake me up. But 1221 is my birthday. That's why God used that number, because God understood that I would relate that to my birthday. And if God started showing it to me over and over again, then I would know that, wait a minute, it's something to this. So that's one of the first steps of waking up. So I'm glad they used that reference in the movie, because a lot of you will see numbers or are seeing numbers, and that's what that means. God is trying to wake you up from your sleep, wake you up from my consciousness. That's what that means.
Bed, unsure if he's just had some strange nightmare. Neo complains of an inability to tell waking life from dreaming.
You ever have that feeling where you're not sure if you're awake or still dreaming?
And when he finally meets the god of dreams himself, Morpheus speaks to Neo's feeling of surreality.
You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees because he is expecting to wake up. Ironically, this is not far from the truth.
The twist is that it's Neo's so-called real life up until now that's been the dream world.
You've been living in the dream world, Neo.
Neo's mentor, Morpheus.
And the dream world that Morpheus tells Neo he's living in is what all of us are living in until we wake up to the realization that it's almost like a simulation, or like Vanita say, a movie or a video game. You come here into this earthly plane, this dimension that we're in, to grow and evolve, but you're not from here. That's what it means when I think in the Bible it says you're in the world, you're not of the world, you're in the world but not of it. That's what that means. This isn't real, not literally real. We come here for a purpose of evolving and growing. It's almost like a spiritual school, but it's not really a school, if you will, because you already know the information. Like we're gonna go through Neo. Neo was the one, like we're all the one, but he forgot he was. So he went through all these things to remember. That's what that means. So I wouldn't say it's a school, but it is a school.
Represents intuition and faith in the unseen forces of the world, in direct opposition to the machine projections that use the eyes and rational arguments to enslave. His ship is called
the Nebuchadnezzar,
a nod to an ancient Babylonian king who, in the biblical book Daniel, gave the wise men of his kingdom the impossible task of not just interpreting his dream, but also telling him what the dream was. So, the Matrix tells us that trusting our intuition and dreams is the beginning of the path toward truth and mind-freeing.
And a lot of people dream. I have a dream gift. I know a lot of people who dream and who've seen things in their dreams, who've seen things that have yet to happen, who have, seen people who have passed on. You've communicated with them in your dream, because in our dream state, when we're unconscious, the soul can travel to different dimensions. It can travel to the future, it can travel to the past, and it can travel to other dimensions. That's why sometimes when you wake up, you think to yourself, God, that seems so real, because your soul traveled to another dimension and brought back, or the future or the past, and brought back remnants of what it did, which we call that dreams. We call that the dream state. That's why it's important to pay attention to your dreams. There's a lot of information, particularly, depending on how intuitive you are, that happens in your dream state.
You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life.
This mysterious inner compass points us in the right direction before our rational minds can catch up.
Such shaping fantasies that apprehend more than cool reason ever comprehends.
Neo's intuition and dreams lead him to form a...
You've met people, a lot of you have met people in your life, and something about them seems so like you just know them already, that you met them
Familiar
before. Yeah,
or yeah.
familiar, like you already know them.
Mhm.
They feel like you met them before, although
Mhm.
you haven't. You have, you just probably met them um
In
in a
another
different
lifetime.
yeah, in a different lifetime. Your soul
Yeah.
recognizes their soul. That's
So
why it's
mhm.
important to pay attention to these things, but no one really teaches us this, um particularly not a lot of religion. This is something that for me, God started showing me when God started waking me up.
Question. Interestingly, we gather that Trinity and the others began their journeys with the same question.
You know the question, just as I did.
What is the Matrix?
So, what starts all these rebels to be on the path to freedom is a growing awareness of this invisible thing that surrounds them, the Matrix.
That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind. The Matrix?
The ability to sense the Matrix, even though nothing about it can be perceived by the senses,
A prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch.
might remind us of the story about the fish who don't know they're surrounded by water.
How's the water? And the two young fish swim on for a bit, and then eventually one of them looks over at the other and goes, "What the hell is water?"
To have the initial capacity to free your mind, you have to question the obvious, what's right in front of your eye.
And that's what I did. That's exactly what I did. I asked, I was like, is this just, what is the purpose of all of this that we're doing? I didn't get it. I said, God, it has to be a reason for this. This is just, I felt a sense of, I won't say void, but like unfulfillment. And I knew just doing the status quo stuff, going to work, taking care of some kids, um, just going to church. For me, I felt like that wasn't enough. It wasn't going to be fulfilling for me. So I was just like, is this all life is gonna be, God? It's just this? And again, I asked the question, and that's how God started to answer back. I asked the question first, as a lot of people who've been on this journey.
The point of the fish story is merely that the most obvious, important realities are often the ones that are hardest to see and talk about.
You think that's air you're breathing now?
The next phase of Neo's enlightenment is destructive truth.
It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
Shattering the illusions that blind and enslave us.
You are a slave, Neo.
What's untrue must die. This phase begins with the choice Morpheus offers Neo to remain in his comfortable pre-enlightened state.
The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe.
Or to wake up.
You stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
And waking up is waking up to the notion that this is not real. Waking up to the notion that you've been programmed. Almost everything you do is a program given to you by the Matrix. All of it. Yeah. She said, Sparrow said, I see 1-on-1 a lot. Exactly. Repeating numbers. That's a dead giveaway. The universe is talking to you. I started seeing 1221, 121, 221, 321, and so on and so forth, all the way around the clock. And God started showing me that these numbers are related to people. That's another story for a different day. I'm the 12. Vanita is the 1. And so these numbers are coincide with different people in my life. And a lot of times when something is going on with these people, or they're thinking, or they're in trouble, or whatever energy field they're in, I'll see their number on a clock, on a car, on TV, and that's how I'll know something is going on with them. So I'll call them and be like, "Are you okay?" No, how did you know? Because I haven't told. Vanita knows, and a couple of other people knows, but I know because I see their number. It illuminates because their energy field is connected to their number. I know that's crazy, right? But yeah, it's deep. It really goes deep. The rabbit hole. It goes very deep.
Until this point, Morpheus's team and Neo are just meeting each other inside the Matrix. But the red pill allows Morpheus's team to locate where Neo's actual body is in the field where machines grow living human beings to use them for energy. As Neo's false conceptions of reality are torn down,
This can be what? Be real?
the disruption to his mind is so violent that he almost dies.
I remember when God started waking me up and the disruption to my mind, because I came from a religious background, meaning my entire family is a church family. It's Sunday school, Bible study, all of that. So when God started showing me that even that's a program, even religion is a program, and that a lot of the stuff that I was programmed to believe about God or the universe wasn't true, it was a joke and a shock to my mind. And I had to, it made me angry, because now everything that I had thought was real and true was gone in an instant. My entire world view, what I had based everything on in life, was destructed in that moment. You know what that does to the mind, to the human mind, when you realize that all of this shit is a lie? It is like Neo. It's a jolt to the mind. It really is. It's the death of the ego. So the death, the jolting, the death of the mind is the death of the programming, all the programming, the patriarchal programming, the cultural programming, the societal programming, the woman programming, the religious programming. It's so many programs that are inside of your mind that you had absolutely nothing to do with. You were giving them. You were put in mostly by your parents, your grandmother, your culture, your race, the part of the world. All of these people are programming you. As soon as you come out of the womb, that's how you learn how to speak English or whatever, or Japanese, because that's a program. They're programming you with this language. Everything is a program.
The first death and rebirth Neo goes through in the film.
Am I dead? Far from it.
Like a baby, he must learn to use his own body.
Your muscles have atrophied. We're rebuilding them.
And to begin thinking for himself,
Absolutely.
as symbolized by seeing through his own eyes.
Why my eyes, sir? You've never used them before.
You never used them before. Neo said, my eyes hurt. I've never used them before, because we've all been asleep. We've all been just following the programs.
Exactly.
Following the pro. Go to work. If you look at people, when people, just watch people. If you're ever in a car, going to work, people are just kind of almost in a sleep-like state. They're kind of dead. You really don't see people smiling. They just kind of going about like little programs. I gotta go to work. That's the program, the work program. I gotta go home and take care of the kids. That's the motherhood program. I gotta be a wife, service my husband or do whatever, the wife program. That's what everybody's doing. But you really don't see, if you look around, unless you're in like a moment like this weekend, we went to a picnic, you don't really see that a lot, where there's a lot of people are just kind of enjoying themselves because people are attached to their program. Mm-hmm. They don't even know. Most of us didn't even, and I wouldn't have known if God didn't show it to me, that you're in a program, you're following the matrix. Most people aren't aware of that. That's sleeping. That's why he said you've never seen before. He didn't know it.
Neo's training is a process of unlearning. Morpheus tells Neo,
don't think you are, know you are.
Because the thinking that's holding him back is an obedience to the rules of machines and their agents.
Like gravity.
Most people are obedient to the program. You don't know that you're obedient to the program. Even, let me give you a perfect example. Relationship rules. Relationship rules that's a program. Somebody somewhere long time ago decided this is what, for the Western world, the United States, the part of the world, because also your programming depends on what part of the world you're in. In this part of the world, a family, according to the program, looks like this: husband, wife, kids. That's the program. Now, most people try to follow this template most people try. Most people don't make it to the happily ever after that the program has told you should be, but most people follow this programming. Although you don't have to have a husband, a wife, and a kid to have a family. Family can be your friend. Family can be whatever you want it to be, because you can make your own, you can walk your own path. You don't have to follow the programming of the Matrix. That's what this is what this whole podcast is going to be about today. How to free your mind from the programming of the Matrix. Now, you can follow it if it works for you, if doing what it tells you to do and walking this path of whatever society, if that works for you, fine. But just know that it's the key is knowing it's a program, and you don't have to follow it because the Matrix tells you this is so. That's the key here.
And for those that feel like they're going crazy, because for me, Kanika was raised in the religious background. I wasn't raised in a religious background. So for me, I thought I was going crazy. I thought something was wrong with me because I didn't plug into everything everybody was saying so much. I felt like something was wrong with me.
Like, give me an example of a program you couldn't get in that program really good.
One of the biggest one was religion. I would go to church and I was like, what are we doing here? Like, none of this makes any sense. It wasn't resonating for me, but society said this is what you should do. So for me, I thought, well, you're fucked up. You're broken. Something's wrong with you because you're not catching on to what everybody else is catching on to regarding religion. How is that so? And it used to frustrate the heck out of me behind it. I really thought something was wrong with me until
a lot of people
showed me.
A lot of people don't fit into the programs. Another one is, this is a big one, being heterosexual. Being homosexual. It goes against the heterosexual programming. So now you got a whole sector of people telling people who will tell you, and I've talked to several people who say they were born this way, but you got the program is telling people, no. The Matrix says it should go like this. The Matrix says it should be a man and a woman, and you should be attracted to a man, and a man should be attracted to a woman. That's what the program says. So anything outside of the programming, people think is wrong, and they think it's wrong because that's the program that's downloaded in their mind. That's what they were given.
We can go all the way down to family that you were given earlier. In an earlier show, I explained, for me, my eyes were set on having a kid for a certain purpose. Well, we've had people say, well, you didn't think about getting married? No, that was not part of my program at the time. That's not what I was looking at. But for them, programming wise, society has told you guys get married, then have a kid. I don't even think half are following that program anyway. That one seems to be really corrupted.
because the Black cultural program has overwritten the societal program. There's a cultural programming in the Black culture. The family structure doesn't seem to be. It doesn't really exist for some people to do, but for most it don't. So the whole marriage thing is a program that this culture, the Black culture, doesn't really adhere to, where other cultures adhere to the programming of marriage, right? So the cultural programming downloaded on Black people has overridden the societal programming of this is how you should do. You should get married, then have a baby. That's a program. You don't have to live by it if you don't want to, but most of society has downloaded that and they're running it, which is fine if that's what you want to do. But just know it is a program. All of this is a program. You don't have to live by what the Matrix says. You can walk your own walk. And a lot of us don't walk our own walks or listen to how the divine or the God or
God,
the source
whatever you want to call it.
telling us to do, because we're too busy trying to follow the program. And that's what it wants you to do. Because the Matrix needs to keep, to keep making money.
Going.
It needs you to keep having kids. It needs you to keep doing all of these things, because somebody is getting rich off of you being asleep. Because if you knew who you were, once you know who you were, like Neo in the movie, you become very powerful once you free your mind. That's why they don't want you to free your mind.
Yes.
Yeah, it's deep. The rabbit hole goes deep.
Must learn is that these rules are no different than the rules of a computer system.
This is something we can all learn from, even if we're not yet ready to reject the laws of physics. Are we not also unnecessarily restricted by what we think we must do or can't do, what we deem possible? At the beginning of the movie, the power of the agents seems unbelievably giant. They are manifestations of the system itself.
Yet their strength and their speed are still based in a world that is built on rules. Because of that, they will never be as strong or as fast as you can be.
And the implication is that we too have unlocked power waiting for us if we unlearn our limitations. Once we start to unbelieve.
Do you believe that my being stronger or faster has anything to do with my muscles in this place?
After this period of destruction comes the third step, reconstructing a new reality from scratch. This is visualized in Neo's training sessions with Morpheus against a blank white background, where they have the ability to summon anything they can think of.
So once you wake up from the sleep and you deprogram yourself, you can basically start anew. That's what this means. You can literally create a life from scratch without the programming playing in the background, creating your life for you. Most people create a life based on the program. You don't create a life based on really your own path and your own journey in this lifetime. You're doing what the program tells you to do. But once you wake up, once you become aware and become conscious, then you can create from scratch. You can create from new, like this.
This is the construct. It's our loading program. We can load anything from clothing to equipment.
For the first time, he is discovering agency. This phase has a lot in common with the philosophical stance of existentialism, which grapples with the idea that human beings really are free. At first, humans tend to despair when they realize their freedom, as they find themselves in a world without given meaning. But existentialists don't see this as depressing. They view freedom as an empowering value because we get to create our own meaning. One of the fathers of existentialism, Friedrich Nietzsche, conceived of a grand hero he called the Übermensch, or Overman, who would create new life-affirming values to give higher meaning to our human existence. Sound familiar?
There was a man born inside who had the ability to change whatever he wanted, to remake the Matrix as he saw fit.
The Matrix is essentially about Neo becoming the Übermensch, or the One.
You are the one, Neo.
This question of whether he's the One brings him to the fourth phase of his truth journey, self-knowledge.
It's Latin. Means know thyself.
Morpheus brings Neo to visit the Oracle, whose name alludes to the Greek Oracle of Delphi.
Know thyself is imperative to life, because if you don't know who you really are and what you came here to do, you will feel unfulfilled your entire life, because you're going to be following programs that don't even fit who you are, who you came to be, or what you're trying to do. You're just trying to fit into society and do what society says. A lot of people get caught up in trying to fit, particularly women, definitely a lot, because women got so many programs in their mind that the Matrix patriarchy done downloaded on them. You got the motherhood program. They tell you gotta be a mama. You're supposed to have kids. You're supposed to be a wife. You're supposed to get married. You're supposed to be submit. You're supposed to be feminine. You're supposed to. All of these are programmed, and that programming benefits the males. Because if they can get you to believe all of this, then you are in servitude of them and the program, right?
You're supposed to get unconditional love from having kids. But
That's another
ask yourself,
program.
do you really get unconditional love? Do you really know what that even really truly means? Unconditional love.
Absolutely. That's a big one. That's why so many women bought into it's if you ask a lot of women why did you want to have a kid? Most women can't answer that. They'll just say, "Well, I just want to be a mother," but why?
Yes.
You wanted to be a mother because the program told you that's what you were supposed to do. You've been programmed. That program has been they start you out the gate. You can be 2. You got a baby in your hand. Society knows to start that programming on women early, because if they don't, then we don't have the babies and society will stop. So it's important for them to continue to place that programming in women's mind. They need you to procreate. They need people to work, in their stores and factories, and, fill up their jails. You procreating, it feeds the program, whether you want to or not. That's why that program is downloaded in women very young. It's very important that they put in your mind the baby, the baby, the baby, the baby. Yeah, that the matrix is to serve the matrix. Whether you wanted to be a mama or not, they're going to make you be one, because they got to keep the matrix going.
Oracle seems to tell Neo that he's not the one.
But you already know what I'm going to tell you.
I'm not the one.
That's what I
Sorry,
said.
kid.
In fact, though, what she really tells him is that the answers are within him.
Yeah.
Being the one is just like being in love. No one can tell you you're in love, you just know it.
We can't arrive at self-knowledge through others. Neo can't know he's the one because anyone else says so, and that's why the Oracle strategically shuts down the grand narrative others have been building around Neo's specialness.
If you are. Very exciting.
That's an interesting part of the movie, because anyone who has been called by God or called by the universe for a divine mission, because you have so much self-doubt and programming in your mind, if you ask anybody with a high calling, they'll tell you when God started showing them who they were and who they were called to be and what they were going to do, it's instant denial. It's like Neo, he just cannot fathom, because he doesn't see himself as the person that God has called him to be. So you go through all of these, just like in the movie, years of self-doubt. I don't know if I can do it. That ain't true. I'm not this enough. I'm not smart enough. You just got all of this doubt because you're fighting through so much that you've been told, and don't have come from a childhood where, there wasn't a lot of love, and this, you have a lot to fight through. Even me, I came from a very loving family, thank God. But even through that, when God started showing me, I would be sitting here doing this, I cried. I literally was in tears. I was just like, there's no way. I'm not qualified. I don't care, God. I don't want to talk to them. I don't care what they do. It was so much that I was fighting through just to accept who I was, in God's eyes, who I was called to be. So yeah, this is a deep part of the journey that when you awaken and when you're called, you go through.
Time. No one's ever made the first jump. I know. But what if he does?
Instead, she prepares Neo for a choice he'll soon face.
In the one hand, you'll have Morpheus's life. And in the other hand, you'll have your own.
Her words might strike us as off-topic. Why is she focusing on this instead of talking more about what we all came for, a declaration of Neo's important identity? But the information the Oracle gives him isn't an answer at all. It's a test through which he can define himself.
She told you exactly what you needed to hear. That's all.
While it's tempting to know how things are going to turn out, We're not supposed to rationally comprehend the facts of our future before it comes to pass. Prophecy is only valuable insofar as it provides useful information we can draw on as we form self-knowledge from within through walking the walk.
Neo, sooner or later you're going to realize, just as I did, there's a difference between knowing the path and walking.
Me and Vanita, Vanita and I talk about this all the time. The difference between walking this spiritual journey of awakening and hearing about it. That's why sometimes people, when we talk about it, they don't understand, you know.
It's very hard to comprehend until you have the experience. Experience is profound. It's
changes your
profound.
life.
It's undeniable. So although you hear people tell you don't do this or don't do that or don't do that or don't do this, you still have freedom of choice. And in that, you have, if it's necessary for you to have the profound experience. It's undeniable at that point. Nobody can tell you anything different once you've had the experience for yourself.
And that's why I can sit here and talk about this Matrix movie, because I lived it. I lived this, of course, without the fighting and all of that. But the main points of the movie, the waking up, you know, the God coming to me, you know, showing me, hey, you know, this is not real. You know, I'm here. You know, this is a simulation. You came out here to, you know, to evolve. It changes. It changed the course of my life completely, because again, if you don't know this ain't real, you'll be going about this life, you know, just following whatever the Matrix tells you to do, which is how most people live.
Hint that the Oracle does believe Neo will develop into the One. She alludes to Trinity's feelings for him.
I can see why she likes you.
Who?
And we later learn that she predicted the man Trinity loved would be the One.
The Oracle told me that I would fall in love and that man that I love would be the one.
It's pretty clear from early on that Neo is going to end up being the One. The real question is why he is. Is this the story of Neo discovering he's the One, or deciding that he is? Are we free to decide our own fates?
Do you believe in fate, Neo?
No,
Why not?
because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
When the Oracle anticipates Neo knocking over the vase,
And don't worry about the days.
What is?
she raises this unknowable issue of whether the future is decided or chosen.
What's really going to bake your noodle later on is, would you still have broken it if I hadn't said anything?
The Oracle's role in this story isn't to resolve this duality, but to reframe it. She disproves our assumption that fate and freedom are an either-or.
And she's never wrong. Try not to think of it in terms of right and wrong. She is a guide, Neo.
She predicts patterns while leaving room for the randomness that stems from choice. Her vision of destiny, an ever-shifting inkblot test.
Do you think you're the one?
When she meets Neo, her inkblot test of him reflects that he doesn't believe in himself. So he's not there yet. The necessary elements are present, but Neo will also have to decide his destiny.
You got the gift. But it looks like you're waiting for something.
And a lot of us, this happens with a lot of us. God tells us something or shows us our gift or shows us our path, but you have to walk that path. God will say, well, Kanika, you know, this is, or show me my destiny or what I'm called to do, but I still had to create. I had to create the podcast. I had to create the YouTube. I had to walk into this destiny of mine, right? That's a choice. God wouldn't have forced me to do it.
I was just about to say that. Keep in mind that it's always a choice. You make choices every day. It's a choice.
It's a choice. It's a choice for Neo to, you know, take the red pill and go through He didn't have to. He gave him a choice. He could have stayed inside the Matrix. Just like everybody else. You can stay inside the Matrix if you want to. Or you can free your mind and walk the God-giving path, which is, you know, the path of choice. And that's a choice. It's a choice.
Exactly.
And a lot of us, this happens with a lot of us. God tells us something or shows us our gift or shows us our path, but you have to walk that path. Or you can free your mind and walk the God-giving path, which is no telling what awaits you. That God-given destiny and not the one the Matrix is trying to tell you. It's no telling the great things that are waiting for you on your journey, but you got to make a decision to walk the path. And it's not
That
always
way.
easy.
The fifth step of the philosopher's journey is overcoming doubt.
You have to let it all go, Neo. Fear, doubt, and disbelief.
Neo's doubt is symbolized by his fear of falling. This is seen already when he's still in the Matrix.
There are two ways out of this building. One is that scaffold, the other is in their custody.
And pre-liberated Neo caves to his fear. During his training, Neo faces another great height. This time he makes the choice to jump, but he doesn't make it. So the fall demonstrates that he doesn't truly believe in his own capabilities just yet.
Everybody falls the first time.
The problem of doubt is embodied in the character of Cypher, who whispers in the Resistance's ear, tempting them to submit to the inevitable victory of machines.
I'm tired of this war. Tired of fighting. I'm tired of this ship. Being cold, of eating the same goddamn goop every day.
Cypher rejects the truth.
I know this state doesn't exist.
Choosing instead to descend back into hedonism and ignorance.
Ignorance is bliss.
Through Cypher, the Matrix challenges its own thesis that mankind truly wants liberation and enlightenment.
And some people don't. Some people don't want to leave the Matrix.
Which is why we say it's a choice. You can stay
Yeah.
plugged in. There's nothing wrong with it if that's what you're choosing.
Yeah,
you chose it before you came anyway, so it really doesn't matter.
You can definitely follow the programs if you choose to. It's all a choice. Again, the road to freeing your mind, I would tell you, it's not an easy road. It's not an easy journey. It is trials, it's just tribulations, it's a lot of unlearning. It's not an easy journey. It's well worth it though. It's very well worth it because I'm free. I'm free to do what I want to do. I'm free to live without having to think I got to follow all of these programs.
Rules.
I don't have to do any of it that I don't want to do. You know how much freedom that is in that when people are trying to live by their religious rules, their cultural rules, the rules of being a woman, the rules of being everything, the rules of being this and that and all of that. I don't have to live by any of that. I'm free from that programming. I can choose to do it if I want to do it, but God has shown me you don't have to do any of that. This ain't even real. If you want to come back and do it again in your next life, that's fine. You know how much freedom it is in that? I don't have to report to anybody about anything. I'm free. I'm free to live how I want to live. A lot of people are just drowning in trying to live up to societal rules, trying to live up to what they say a woman should be, what they say a man should be, what they say a mother should be, a wife should be. All of these programs, they're just programs. If you want to do it, fine. But if you don't, that's fine. You won't do at the end of this life. If you want to try it again, you can come back and do it again. Isn't that lovely? If you want to, I don't know why you want to come back, but if you want to come back, you can. You definitely can.
I choose the Matrix.
The character forces us to consider, which would we really choose? A difficult but free life or blissful subjugation?
I know what you're thinking. Why, oh why didn't I take the blue pill?
Many of us secretly prefer the lie and will even fight to preserve it if that illusion maintains our materialist comforts and protects us from suffering.
That's why you see a lot of, I want to start, this is perfectly put. You see a lot of men fighting against women who do not want to live under the guise of what they're saying a woman should be or a wife should be. You see that a lot online going on right now. What's happening is women are fighting. They don't know this consciously. Some do, most don't. You're fighting against the program the Matrix has imposed on you of what you should do as a woman, how you should live. A lot of women are saying, I don't want to do any of that. I want to live my life for me. I want to do what I want to do. And the program, mostly men, because it benefits them for you to stay in the program. That's why they're fighting so hard against you being liberated, right? Are you living the life you want to live, doing what you want to do, not having a baby if you don't want to, not having to live by all these sexual rules that men have placed on you. And I want y'all to know this. All these morality rules that men have placed around your sexuality it benefits them because they want your vagina to be for them. That's why they put all of these rules on you. Women are fighting against it, saying, no, I don't want to do this. I want to live like this. And men are saying, hell no, because that program benefits them. That's why you have to understand why, and they don't even see it. They don't, because they have been programmed with patriarchy. So they don't even know that's what's going on in their mind and why they think the way that you do. Ask any man, just ask him one day, say, why does a woman body count matter to you? Every time I ask a man that, they can't really summarize it in words why it is a big idea, because they don't understand that they're just following the program of patriarchy. It's what who they call their oppressors have given to them. So they're just following the male program and they're trying to impose the female program on you.
Most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system that they will fight to protect it.
The Matrix suggests that
men will fight. Men are fighting vigorously, and I'm using men because I see this playing out in real time in the Black community. Men are fighting. Black men are fighting vigorously to put Black women back inside the program because they live by this program of ride or die, hold him down, take whatever. It doesn't matter. Hold the community together. This program has been in the Black female mind for so long, and it's benefited the males. That's why you see them fighting you, shaming you, threatening you to get back in line because the program, they benefit from this program. They're not aware of it though. So it's not like they're intentionally, they're aware that that's why they're doing it. They depend on you because you being in your program feeds their ego and it makes them feel like a man, right? That's why they're doing it. He said, stop whining. No, it's the truth. That's why men are, oh, you're supposed to be like this and you're not feminine enough and you're not this enough and your schooling don't matter, your degree don't. All of this is because they need to put you back in the program, and if you escape it don't benefit them.
Most men are even unconscious that that's what they're doing they've been doing it for a while. So it's not like men are consciously do that. It's embedded in them so deep, and I can tell you based off of being in it at one point and out of it now, you don't realize when you're in it. It's not, you're not consciously saying do this, do that, kind of like a dictator. It's not that. You're unconsciously doing it.
They're doing it unconsciously. They're following the program of patriarchy.
Yes.
That has been given to them by the men before them, the men around them. They've all bought into the program. But it's women are saying
down behavior. That's all it is. It's just down behavior.
Yeah, they don't realize what they're doing. That's why you really can't pay them no mind. You just have to live your life for you and don't really listen to them because they are really programmed. At least you can connect, women can connect to the source, the divine, to God a lot easier. They're in the matrix now. Everything is outside of themselves. Everything is power, it's money, it's sex, it's everything of the ego. They're really plugged in.
I mean, we have to ask the question because they're saying that women's body count matters, but nobody ever says that men's body count matters because they have a body count as well.
Because men control
not
the matrix.
Spoken of.
Yeah,
because
they control
goes
the matrix.
Both ways.
It does.
If women's body count doesn't matter, then why? If women's body count matters, then why don't men's body count matter as well?
Right.
You have
Exactly.
to look at it both ways. We're not separate. Everybody pee, poop, eat, and everything else the exact same way. We're all one. We're not different. We're not separate. But we're taught that we are separate. We're not separate. We're all one.
Well, here's the thing. The reason why men don't talk about this, they don't have the same rules for them that they apply on you, because they don't follow a lot of the rules. They give it to you to control you. But if you look at men in general, men don't follow a lot of societal rules. Not really, particularly ones in relationships. They will say they do. They attempt to, but we all know we know a bunch of women who've been, and women do too, but not nearly as much as men. For the most part, almost every woman I know in relationships have followed the relationship rules to the T. It's the men that have broken the rules and stepped outside and did what they wanted to do, because men don't really follow the rules of the Matrix because it don't benefit them. But it benefits them to tell you to follow it. So you have to be aware of people's intentions. And again, back to what Vanita said, they're unaware of this. Men are unconscious. There are a lot of awakened men. Not in our community. There are a couple like Ken Brisbane, Ken Billions. If you don't follow him on Facebook, if you don't follow him go to his YouTube, subscribe to him. He's awakened. That's an awakened black man. There's another one, Kevin. I forgot Kevin's last name. Kevin Wesley. Kevin Wesley. He's another awakened black man, because it ain't a lot of them. But you can tell the ones who know that they both talk about the Matrix. Ken talks about it and Kevin talks about it, knowing that they're in the Matrix. So they're aware of their program, and their male patriarchal programming, and they're able to talk about it. But most men don't want to. They don't want to become conscious and change it, because it benefits them. Anything that benefits people, they're not gonna want to change it. So that's why you don't see a lot of change happening with men. But unfortunately, as a woman, if you aren't aware of what they're trying to do, you can really fall for this and think there's something wrong with you, because you don't want to live by the way they say you should live. No, you live the way God tells you to live. You walk your own journey, not the journey that these men tell you should live. Who are they? They don't decide your fate. God, you walk your own path.
That most of us already are choosing the blue pill. As we learn in The Matrix Reloaded, only 1% of people have minds that reject the Matrix.
99% of all test subjects accepted the program
Facts.
as long as they were given a choice, even if they were only aware of the choice at a near unconscious level.
Cypher wants badly for Neo to fail.
You never did answer me before. You bought into Morpheus' bullshit.
We get the sense he may know to some degree about the Oracle's prophecy that Trinity would love the One, because he keeps asking her if she thinks Neo's the real deal.
You don't, do you?
All I want is a little yes or no.
Even though he believes in nothing, he craves certainty in this belief.
Morpheus was right. And there's no way I can pull this plug.
I mean, if Neo's the one, then there'd have to be some kind of
A miracle to stop me.
In pursuit of this certainty, he murders his fellow rebels and nearly sabotages their whole operation before he's killed. Yet, Cypher's own death here is redundant. He was already about to essentially kill himself by erasing his agency and consciousness to become mindless fodder for a machine network.
I go back to sleep, and when I wake up, I don't remember a goddamn thing.
Cypher's desperate need for proof that humankind's situation is truly hopeless stems from his knowledge deep down that what he's done is evil. Choosing ignorance is enabling oppression. Anyone who's plugged into the Matrix can be taken over by an agent at any moment, making them a tool for the system of slavery.
The very minds of the people.
And most people don't even know that's what they are. Going back to what Vanita said, men aren't consciously doing it. They're just following their own programming. And because it works, it benefits them. There's no reason to leave the Matrix. There's no reason to drop the programming in pursuit that Vanita said we're all one. We're all, there's no supreme being or supreme gender over another. Being the supreme gender benefits them in their mind. That's why they will refuse to let go of the programming because, they get all the good things from it. They get our submission sometimes and this, that, and the other. They'll be in the matrix for the most part. I doubt if most of them women will wake up before they will.
People we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy.
No amount of rational knowledge can overcome doubt. It can only be defeated by Neo's next stage, belief.
I know that's what it looks like, but it's not. I can't explain to you why it's not.
The moment when Neo discovers belief is the point when we feel the plot start to turn in his favor.
That's why I have to go. Why? Because I believe in something.
After Morpheus is captured and tortured for the access code to Zion, the one remaining free human city, the Resistance considers pulling Morpheus's plug. No one has ever beaten an agent, so they're certain it's impossible to do so. Neo then decides to do the impossible. Save Morpheus.
I believe I can bring him back.
It's no accident that this is the choice the Oracle signposts for Neo. It's the crucible in which his true nature will be forged, determined, revealed. He still doubts he's the one.
I'm not the one, Trinity.
Neo doesn't have the ego to abstractly believe he's the savior of all humankind, but when the mentor he loves and admires more than anything is in danger, he unconsciously and irrationally believes in his ability to save him, showing that he does know he has the one's power, he just doesn't know he knows yet.
So what do you need besides a miracle?
Guns. Lots of guns.
The three main characters, Morpheus, Trinity, and Neo, are all driven by beliefs.
Morpheus believed something, and he was ready to give his life for what he believed. I understand that now.
Meanwhile, Cypher's weakness comes from the fact that he lacks belief.
This movie really talks about the power of belief, how important it is to believe, in yourself and what you came here to do, and how that will create your entire life. Or in Cypher's world, he doesn't even believe. He lacks belief. Belief is huge, in the creation of your life. That's why a lot of people will remain broke all their life, because it's a belief that they can't be rich, or they aren't worthy to be wealthy and rich. Belief controls a lot of what you see show up in your reality.
The very last thing he says is,
I don't believe it.
As Stephen Fowler observes in Beyond the Matrix, just as Neo's name is an anagram for one, Cypher's name is an alternate spelling of cipher, which means 0. It's fitting that these two opposite characters correspond to 1 and 0, the two digits of the binary system which computers operate in. This suggests that ultimately what seems to be an array of choices boils down to just 2. Believe in something, or believe in nothing.
Believe it or not, you piece of shit, you still gonna burn.
The Matrix posits that faith is much stronger than mere knowledge. It's something no one can take from you.
Let me tell you what I believe. I believe Morpheus means more to me than he does to you. I believe if you are really serious about saving him, you are going to need my help.
That no one can argue you out of.
If you don't like it, I believe you can go to hell.
Steadfast belief in his mission makes Neo able to dodge bullets like an agent can.
How did you do that?
Do what?
You moved like they do.
Yet Neo's still hit by a bullet, symbolizing that his self-doubt lingers.
Wasn't fast enough.
Trinity comes to his rescue,
Dodge this.
foreshadowing how she will provide the secret weapon to complete his philosophical journey soon after this. When Agent Smith takes over a homeless man's body in the subway tunnel just after Trinity and Morpheus have exited, due to his growing faith, Neo does the unthinkable. He stands his ground against an agent. At this point, you might say that Neo's belief makes him an even match for Agent Smith, but he's not yet surpassed the agents. After all, they wholly believe too. As software programs, they have this belief written into their code.
We was just talking about that. A lot of people are unaware that they're agents. So it's not like they're doing it on purpose. They're just following their embedded code of, who their parents, their race, their culture, their sex. They're just following the program. So they're not intentionally doing it. This is just what was downloaded on them. So they're unaware as well.
the equivalent of their DNA. Smith keeps calling him
Mr. Anderson?
which pushes Neo to cast off his slave name and claim his true identity.
My name is Neo.
He is at last trusting in his individual power.
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.
Even though Neo wins this fight, the agent can just stop the train and take over another body. Thus, Neo runs again. But just before he's about to exit the Matrix, he's taken by surprise. He flatlines. In this moment, the Oracle's prophecy that either Morpheus or he would die comes true. But we're about to find out her word's deeper meaning was obscured by technicalities. Neo wasn't yet the one because he had to die in this current form and be reborn as someone new. In fact, his name, Neo, is a prefix meaning.
And that's what happens when you wake up. You die to your programming and you wake up a new person.
Yes.
New thoughts. You see the world differently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you understand that none of this is real, that you know, that all of this is taught to you, is programmed into you. You literally are born again. That's what the Bible talks about. Being born again. That's what that means.
New.
But it looks like you're waiting for something.
What?
Your next life, maybe.
The last and most crucial step of Neo's transition into the One is love.
You can't be dead. You can't be. Because I love you.
Another fact that holds true until this point is that death in the Matrix kills a person in real life.
The body cannot live without the mind.
However, the physical sensations in the Matrix are an illusion. So Trinity's love in the real world, coupled with Neo's exceptional ability to separate his real mind from his Matrix body, leads to his resurrection.
Now get up.
Belief made him as powerful as an agent, but belief powered by love is what makes Neo unstoppable.
It is. Belief powered by love makes you unstoppable. And that's why it's important for the Matrix to keep you asleep, because it's incredible what you can do when you believe, you know, in yourself and you're operating from a place of love. It's incredible. So it's important that the system keeps you asleep, because if you knew your own power like Neo did, like Jesus did, it's no telling what you can do and maneuver in the Matrix. And that could be dangerous for the Matrix. That's why it's important to keep you asleep.
Now he fulfills Morpheus's earlier prediction.
That I can dodge bullets?
I'm trying to tell you that when you're ready, you won't have to.
Armed with agency, self-belief, and love, Neo sees through the agent's illusory forms to the pure code they really are. This is a visualization of seeing the truth in full, seeing into the very essence of things.
In the very essence of things, what he saw is that we're all one and they're programmed too. Everybody is. But once you see the truth of everybody, they are me and you. We're all one. There's no separation in Vanita and me and you and God. We're all a part of the whole. We're all a part of this universal thing that we're doing here. But most people don't know that because they're asleep. They think that they're separate. They think that they're black or white or man or woman or whatever. And all of that's ego. All of that is illusion. It's the illusions of the Matrix. That's what we use to navigate this plane. All of these definitions and labels and words. But none of it is real. Remember, you're a soul having a human experience, not the other way around. You're a soul. You came here as a soul. You put on this costume we call a body, but when you die, you drop it and you go back to the other side of home or heaven or wherever you want to call it.
Now that he can glimpse this total truth, he can bend the code to his will. And after he goes inside an agent to destroy it from within, finally the agents run from him. During this sequence, we hear holy music, underlining that this infinite level of insight is godlike.
It is.
He is the one.
We've seen hints throughout that Neo's story can be interpreted as the Christ narrative.
Jesus Christ, he's fast.
He dies and is resurrected, thanks to the love of Trinity, or
The Trinity?
You can also associate the three central characters loosely with the three figures of the Trinity: the Father,
Morpheus, you're more than a leader to us. You are a father.
the Son,
Hallelujah. You're my savior, man. My own personal Jesus Christ.
and the Holy Spirit. The nameplate of the Resistance's ship alludes to the Bible verse Mark 3:11, and whenever the unclean spirits saw him, they fell down before him and cried out, "You are the Son of God." Neo is betrayed by a Judas figure, and most fundamentally, he's a radical who comes to spread a world-altering truth in the hearts of people. Neo's defeat of the agents signifies the triumph of human values, culminating in love, the most irrational value of all. At the very end, Rage Against the Machine plays. The significance of this isn't just fighting the machines in this story. It's telling us to rage against what seems certain, impossible, set in stone. And in the last shot, when Neo flies upwards, this imagery is reminiscent of the Buddha, who could ascend to heaven after reaching enlightenment. The image is a visualization of how accepting truth allows us to fly free.
Absolutely.
A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries.
Neo is not on the surface the most exceptional person.
That's going to be hard for a lot of people because you've been programmed to believe that you have to follow these rules. You have to follow these programs. You have to do it. So being able to drop that programming that you've had all your life is not an easy thing to do. And there are going to be agents, Mr. Smiths all around who's going to tell you that you got to stay in the matrix, that you got to keep the programming, or you're wrong, or you're bad. Again, and they don't even know that they're programmed. So the agents, the Mrs. Smiths, don't know that they're in the program. They don't know. They're just trying to protect the programming because for a lot of them, keeping you in it, their survival depends on keeping you in it. That's why it's going to be a lot of people going against you dropping your religious programming, your cultural programming, your social programming, your racial programming, your sex programming. A lot of people are going to be like, hell no, because they depend on you to stay a certain kind of way or stay behaving or doing a certain type of thing. The system depends on it.
Not too bright, though.
So it might strike us as jarring that Morpheus and others are so immediately convinced of his special nature. Why this guy?
Go on your left. No, your other left.
But there's hidden significance in the fact that Neo is an everyman. The point isn't that he's the only one. It's that we all have a one within. Transcendental poet Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "God dwells in thee. Clouded and shrouded, there doth sit the infinite embosomed in a man." If we walk these steps towards enlightenment, we can begin to access the power of seeing infinite truth.
Do not try and bend the spoon. Only try to realize the truth.
And we can learn from Neo that thinking deeply is the secret to waking up and really being alive.
There is no spoon.
Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends. It is only yourself.
God, truth, the one, whatever you call it, the Matrix sends this profound, deeply inspirational message. Within yourself is untold power waiting to be unlocked.
A world where anything is possible.
Watch out for our next video unpacking this movie's hidden references and how they explain the Matrix we're living in today. Hey guys, this is Alani, and today I want to talk to you about one of our favorite places to watch movies. Mubi. Mubi is a treasure trove of films. Every day, Mubi premieres a new film, whether it's a...
Okay, so as you can see, the Matrix movie really is it's an allegory for life, basically. It's a movie with a bunch of fighting and this and that, but it's really just the hero's journey that I've been on, Vanita have been on. It's the path to enlightenment, the path to waking up to the real reason why you're here. waking up to your programming and learning to live life with a mind of doing whatever it is you want to do. Of course, I'm not talking about hurting
It's
anybody.
freedom.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a freedom
freedom.
of the mind.
It's a freedom of the mind. I don't care what people say I should be doing, how I should be living. I don't follow the rules that the matrix have given to me. If I don't want to be in a relationship a certain kind of way the matrix tells me, I don't do it.
Yeah,
If I
period.
don't, you like the big one, the matrix tells women they have to have children. I didn't have kids because that didn't work for my lifestyle. I didn't follow the program. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to follow the program. You have to do what's best for you. And what's best for you is what God tells you to do, not what man tells you to do, not what your society tells you to do, not what people tell you to do, not what your race tells you to do, but what God guides you to do. That would be my take on it. If I had to give anybody any advice, is to really understand that people are, like Vanita said earlier, they're unaware that this is happening. Most people are asleep.
Yeah.
So they're not intentionally trying to hurt you or intentionally, trying to, well, some of them, but everybody ain't intentionally trying to
Majority,
deceive you.
yeah,
Yeah, the
majority
majority.
is not. I mean, of course there's going to be some flaws, in the whole process.
Yeah.
Some flawed individuals, but the majority, they're not trying to hurt you.
Yeah, they're not trying
even
to hurt you.
even relationships, because that tends to come up a lot relationship wise. When you're
Yeah.
in relationships and you guys perceive that someone has done you wrong, whether it's a guy or girl, the woman did something or the man did something, it's just a perception. They're just running off of what they believe is right for them in that moment.
That's
That's
it.
all it is. Their intent is not to slight you by no means.
For the most part, people are
Yeah,
just running on their own programming and what they're trying to do in the matrix. So
that's
that's why
it.
you got to be aware. And also it'll help you not take things so personal, and it'll also help you
Yes,
to be aware when someone is okay. They're just, going by what somebody told them is the truth,
pretty
of
much.
how they should be living. So that's why they're telling me that's how I should be living, because
Hmm.
they're unaware as well. So you can't
Exactly.
even really pay them no mind. You really, really
No,
can't.
I would say resonate with what feels good inside you.
Facts.
Inside of you. How does it make you feel? Whatever choice you're making, how
Yeah.
does it make you feel? Are you calm and okay with it? Does it
Yeah.
seem to razzle you some kind of way? If it razzles you in any kind of way, it's probably not for you. That's not something you want to do.
Absolutely.
Do things that make you feel good inside, make you
Yeah.
feel content, feel whole, feel at peace.
What do you want to do? Stop living for the approval of the matrix and the approval of men and the approval of what they say and how you should do this and that. You don't have to do any of that. You walk your own path. You walk your own hero's journey. You do what's best for you, because that's the path to enlightenment. That's the path to, I believe, what everybody is looking for is fulfillment, true fulfillment, when you can walk your own journey despite what everybody else is saying to you. Particularly for women, because women definitely like to follow all the programs, definitely. And, end up in your late 30s and 40s looking at life like, shit, what happened? I'm here, I done had some kids, and now what? Because you've been following the program. So now follow what God is directing you to do. What makes you feel good inside? What makes you happy? What makes you feel whole and content? What are your joys, your passions? Follow that stuff instead of listening to the peanut gallery and what they tell you should be doing, because they're trying to just make sure what they trying to get done gets done. Like Vanita say, what they trying to find, everybody got a a purpose for what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
Basically,
everybody has an intent of what they're trying to get out
mhm,
of whatever they're doing. And sometimes it's necessary to try to brainwash you to get where they're trying to go. I mean, that's the whole purpose of the Matrix. The Matrix is designed simply just to keep the world going, to keep capitalizing. That's really
it.
all it is.
That's it. And if it takes you sacrificing your happiness in your life, the Matrix don't give a damn. So just make sure you're doing what you want to do for you and not doing it because society tells you to do it. That's just basically the story of the Matrix. Free your mind from your programming, because it's a lot of different programs, as we talked about. Even within the societal patriarchal programming, you got the cultural programming. There's a Black American programming. You can't even be an individual and have an individual thought in the Black community. They'll call you a sellout. They'll call you a coon. If you don't walk in the path of the program, of the culture, and you say, no, I don't want to do that, or no, I don't believe that, everybody will attack you, because the program says you got to do what we tell you to do, not what you want to do. So you have to also be aware, of the programming that's in your vicinity, right? It's a bunch of them. So you have to become aware of even being a woman. You got men telling you what you need to do to be a woman, how you need to live, the rules you need to follow, what you need to do with your vagina. The men got a big obsession with what you need to do with your vagina. Now, this is your vagina now. And your body, it don't have shit to do with them. It ain't no money out of their pocket. No skin off their back, what you do with your vagina, but they're obsessed with controlling it. You see what I'm saying? And women listen to them. Women, do what you live, how you want to live. Do what you want to do. Only thing I say, wherever that is, you just got to be okay with the consequences. You suffer the consequences. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If y'all don't take nothing from this show today, I want y'all to just take this one thing, particularly when listening to your culture telling you how you should live your life, right? They'll say, well, we need to do this because they are doing this to us and they're doing that to us, and we, and if you don't do this, da. But these same people, if you go to court and you standing in front of that judge, is it going to be a we then? We go out the window if you're standing in front of a judge facing some time. It ain't going to be no we then. It's going to be a you.
When you having these kids, there's no we. There's a you, ladies.
That's a fact.
There's some men that'll come in and step in, but the majority, is that happening? Is your child's fathers around? You have to ask yourself,
only is it going to be a you, they're going to blame you and
that
say
way.
You are the reason the daddy ain't around. See, that's the Black cultural matrix. You got to become aware of the reasoning behind all of this, because if the culture says, well, it's really kind of our fault too, then they would have to take accountability and particularly make a change. They don't want to make a change because the matrix, the way it is, the Black cultural matrix is working for them. That's why be aware of what men and people around you are saying and their reasoning for it, because it ain't gonna pretty much benefit you. They're trying to benefit the whole or themselves, but not you. And another thing, if they win the lottery, it ain't going to be no us either. It's going to be a them. They not going to give you none of the money. So why are you listening to them? Do what's best for you. You're an individual. And it's okay to walk your own path. That's okay. I don't listen to nothing nobody say. I do what I want to do. Because I'm going to be the one dealing with the consequences of said choices. So I do what I want to do, whatever that is. People can make all the judgments their heart desires. It's just talk. What are they going to do? Just words. The words don't hurt me. I don't care about people's judgments. Never have. That's another reason why I'm free. So just walk the walk the way you want to walk it. I would suggest tuning in to God, tuning in to the source of all things, the universe, and walking the path that God is going to direct you, because that's the one that you possibly came down here to fulfill your purpose. But definitely don't follow the one that the Matrix gives you. Follow the one you want to. If it works for you, the things that work for you in the program, do it. If it's not working for you, like V said, if it's not making you feel good and joyful and happy, why are you doing it? Don't appease the program. The program don't give a shit about you at all. That's all we're saying. That's all this was about. So V, do you have anything else? Any closing programs? Any closing remarks about the Matrix?
Just honor yourself. Just
Yeah.
pretty much what you just said. Please honor yourself. And if it does not make you feel good, don't do it. Don't listen to everyone. Are they paying your bills?
Nope.
Are they helping you out?
Nope.
They're not.
Then
So
they
it's
don't
no
care.
need to. Yeah, they don't care. It's no need to listen to them. You're not benefiting from it. You're not gaining from it.
Mm-mm. You're not gaining from any of it. Do what benefits you, and your children, or you and your family. Do what's best for you, and trust and believe. God told me, and I can vouch for, it is okay. It's okay to walk your own path. The most freeing thing ever is when God told me, it's okay. You just got to live with your consequences, good or bad or indifferent, but you can do what you want to do. And I'm telling you, I sleep like a baby at night. I don't care about none of this. Anything these men saying, these religious people, I don't care about none of it. I'm going to do what's best for me. And that's true freedom in the Matrix. Well, once again, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for everybody in the chat. Thank you. You all show up. I know it's a lot of people that are live tonight, a lot of great content creators, some of my favorites. So I appreciate you guys showing up. We're probably going to do another show this weekend, probably Sunday morning. We'll do another show. So if you don't mind hitting the notification bell so you'll know when we go live, this is the kind of content we're going to focus on doing. Content more on a spiritual basis. Of course, there's going to be, regular relationship stuff, but kind of with a spiritual twist, because Vanita and I have been on a spiritual journey for a very long time. We met, matter of fact, that's what we might do. We might talk about having a twin flame and spiritual relationships. That's a big one, and how we both got to experience what it feels like to have a spiritual relationship or spiritual experience with a soul that is male. Look, V, I don't know if you call it a relationship, but a lot of people call it twin flame, soulmate, all that type of stuff. So we're definitely going to talk about that. But thank you guys for tuning in again. Like I said, if you don't mind subscribing, if you're new to the channel, we'd appreciate it because we are building the channel. And thank you for everybody who tuned in today. And we will be back on, I think, Sunday morning. Sunday morning. Have a good evening, guys. And if we don't talk to you anymore, we will definitely be back next Wednesday, 7:30 with another show.
Yes.
So you guys have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.